It's a mood of shock. It's a mood of surprise. This is not the kind of area people thought that this kind of thing would happen, or the kind of place where people would expect this to happen. There's a feeling as though a situation that seems to have been pushed to the brink so many times in the last few weeks and months.
All right, folks, that's commentary on yesterday's horrific attack in Jerusalem. Joining us now, as promised, Congressman Allen West, former congressman from the great state of Florida and retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and author of a great new book. We're putting it up on the screen, Guardian of the Republic. Hello, Congressman.
How you doing, Steve?
Congratulations on the book.
Thank you so much. It's good to be with you.
Well, good to talk to you. First, I want your response. Your response to what happened yesterday, and then I'll get to what the president had to say. Go ahead.
Well, it's absolutely horrific, and I think it just goes to show that there is one side that is, has the desire for peace and wants to survive and defend itself, and then there's another side that has no inklings whatsoever toward a peaceful settlement for the situation in the Middle East. And I think you're also starting to see the influence of ISIS, not just there in the immediate region, but shifting over to Israel and definitely here in America, because we're seeing these lone wolf jihadist attacks, if you want to call it that way, and there's been an incredible uptick of that there in Israel.
Yeah, I want you to hear some of what the president had to say yesterday in reaction to the attack. He was speaking from the White House, and here it is.
The murders for today's outrageous acts represent the kind of extremism that threatens to bring all of the Middle East into the kind of spiral from which it's very difficult to emerge, and we know how this violence can get worse over time.
He also made a moral equivalency, saying too many Israelis and too many Palestinians have died. Now, Congressman, I know I don't have to impress this upon you. 3 American rabbis were slaughtered with butcher knives and cleavers, meat cleavers, inside a synagogue. American citizens, and this is his toned, calm, reasoned, moral equivalence response, which angers the heck out of me.
Well, it should upset you, because you think about, we're coming off of the beheading of an American, and now we just had 3 Americans brutally killed, assaulted while they were praying there in a synagogue in Jerusalem, and that's a very tepid response. And the other thing is that, we continue to hear this classification of extremism. We don't say Islamic terrorism. We don't say jihadism. It's as if we're trying to wish this problem away and reclassify it in a means that is very comforting and accommodating to us. And so the Obama administration is going to have to do a lot better, because, Mahmoud Abbas did the same thing with his moral equivalent statement, talking about this was the result of provocation from Israel. So, and Hamas, we know, was celebrating.
Yeah, the kids in the streets. I mean, here's another thing. Abbas is described as the great man of peace by Obama and the administration, and Netanyahu is described as chicken blank. And to ignore, you want to ignore Islamic radical extremism? I mean, that's bad enough. But how do you ignore a culture, an entire Palestinian culture that glorifies killing Jews, urges killing Jews, teaches killing Jews, and celebrates with children the killing of Jews?
Well, that's the tough thing, and we continue to see that coming out of the administration, where they don't understand that, Mahmoud Abbas, is the leader of a gang called Fatah. Fatah, originally comes from the Palestinian Liberation Organization of Yasser Arafat. They were the original terrorists. And Abbas is going into a reconciliation pact agreement with Hamas. You have a person like Erdogan in Turkey that the president calls his best friend. And we know that Erdogan is an extreme anti-Semitic individual, and the fact that Turkey has been supporting ISIS, we're on the wrong side in the Middle East. I mean, we're standing with Qatar. We're not standing with countries like Egypt and the United Arab Emirates, UAE, which just classified the Council for American Islamic
as a terrorist
Relations.
group. Yep.
Yeah, and
And I want to make that very clear. They classified CARE as a terrorist group. We're coming back with more from Alan West. Don't go away. All right, folks, we're back with former Florida Congressman Lieutenant Colonel Alan West and the author of Guardian of the Republic. First of all, you got a new gig coming up also, don't you?
Yes, a couple of Fridays ago, I was announced as the incoming CEO for the National Center for Policy Analysis, which is headquartered out in Dallas. It's a 31-year-old conservative policy think tank, and I'm really looking forward to it.
That's great. They could not have picked a better person. I know you're going to do very well with that. And congratulations on the book. It's so important that your word gets out there. You're on Fox. You're all over. You got this position now, and the book Guardian of the Republic, I think, is really an important work.
Well, what I think we're starting to see finally, and I believe that the midterm election was an initial indicator, is American people are starting to focus on policies. When the president said that my policies were on the ballot, a lot of Americans start to think about, how they're suffering. I mean, they're not working full-time equivalent jobs. Their health care insurance premiums are going up. We see a lack of a strong resolve with our national security. We're decimating our military capability and capacity. So the American people say, hey, look, we got to get this thing back on the right track, and we got to be responsible and honoring of our rule of law and our Constitution.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, Congressman, because on Friday, according to reports, on Friday in Las Vegas, the president's going to roll the dice and spit in the face of Americans, spit in the face of Republicans in particular, and spit in the face of the Constitution in the minds of many, and announce his executive order on immigration.
It's very clear, Steve, in Article 1, Section 8, Clause number 4, that the president does not have that enumerated power. The Congress are the only ones that can make rules and laws in matters of naturalization. Even that executive order on the DREAM Act is a violation of the Constitution. And, this illegal immigration issue is about a 76% issue with the American people. They don't support it, especially after what happened this summer when you had tens of thousands of illegals came across the border, and now they've been dispersed all over the country. The American people, they want to get back to work. They don't want to see all of a sudden, an influx of illegals that, guess what, they're going to be responsible for, because they're going to get on the taxpayers' roll for, welfare benefits and things of that nature.
Yeah, welfare benefits, Obamacare, you name it. But okay, so let's say you're Speaker of the House, Alan West. What or advisor to the Republicans? What should they do? Should they defund this and risk the blame for a government shutdown, which should go to the president? Although the media will never do it that way. Or should they let it go and run in 2016 for the White House on this?
No, you cannot let this go, because you're talking about, a fundamental demographic shift and an economic, catastrophe for the United States of America right now. And you're talking of a blatant disrespect of our Constitution. So I believe that the most important thing that can immediately be done between the House and the Senate in January 2015 is to not fund any of the agencies or whatever that will be responsible for allowing illegal immigrants to get these work permits and now have to face deportations.
All right, so then the president doesn't sign that defunded the budget bill. He says the Republicans are going to shut down the government. The media says the Republicans are going to shut down the government. And then the public is told the Republicans shut down the government. And because we've seen this happen in the past, the Republicans don't have the wherewithal to educate the public and say, we're not shutting it down. When it was over last time, they basically apologized they blamed Ted Cruz for making them shut down the government.
Well, the difference is that, legislation is not stopping at Harry Reid's desk. And so, therefore, it would be the President of the United States saying that, I want to violate the Constitution and grant amnesty to people who are here illegally, and that is more important to me than the functioning of the United States federal government. That's not a good position to take. after you just came off a horrific midterm election loss.
So you think the Republicans should risk the government shutdown and risk being blamed for it because that's the right thing to do?
I think the Republicans need to find their big boy pants. That's what they need to do.
And does that include impeachment?
Well, I think that there's going to be an incredible cry from the American people. I don't think that the Republicans need to talk about it. I think what they need to do is say, what I just spoke about. Who has the enumerated power by way of the Constitution to do this?
Right.
It is with the legislative branch, and it's not with the executive branch. Look, you got a person like Jonathan Turley, who is, a liberal.
He voted for Obama twice, and now he's going to represent the lead counsel for the Republican lawsuit. Yep.
There you go.
Yep. That adds a lot of credibility. Hey, Congressman, best of luck with everything, with the new job, with the book, and with the traveling. And well, I hope we talk to you soon, sir.
Always a pleasure, Steve.
Thank you. Good to talk to you. All right, folks, the one and only Alan West. When we come back, former Deputy Minister of Defense in Israel, Danny Danon.